The thing about mysterious locations is that they are jam-packed with all sorts of interesting things. Human brains love to discover new things and won't simply give up when a mystery presents itself. We don't always go about demystifying mysteries in the most intelligent fashion, however. This often results in hauntings and curses and other general paranormal tomfoolery ruining a few lives. Sometimes even more than a few, as we'll discover today. So if you do come across some spot that feels a little different than most places and discover some items of interest within the boundaries, consider leaving them as they are. Bringing stuff like that along on your adventure could spell doom for you, your pals, and possibly humanity. Let's get right into it. The top 5 most haunted items found in mysterious locations. Coming in number 5, a tiny hand. Mind you, this 5-fingered appendage doesn't truly belong to anyone. Rest assured, there is no petite individual walking around up there with a stub starting at their wrist. Or is there? Well, we haven't found any creatures with 5 fingers a side made of bronze yet, so as of right now, this hand is totally its own thing. However, there's a lot to be gleaned from its existence. Plus, it was found in a titular mysterious location and probably has some sort of magic imbued within. Could be cool, could be dangerous. That always seems to be the risk while working with the paranormal, eh? There are a few theories concerning the hand, none of which seem to imply a lack of bloodshed. Quite the opposite, it seems. Lots and lots of bloodshed associated with the tiny bronze figurine. Makes sense, doesn't it? The metallic piece was picked up in the ancient Roman fortress of Vindolanda in England. If we know anything about the Romans, it's that they were peaceful, conflict-avoiding people. Just a little joke for you folks at home. Really though, there's not much likelihood that this hand was left behind for any reason other than the killing of many. Great. It may have been associated with the worship of a very mysterious cult, one that prayed to a lesser-known deity that seemed to guarantee conquest on the battlefield. Who knows what other weird activities this niche religious group got up to. Probably nothing too healthy or friendly. There's also the idea that this was left behind as an offering to a god, maybe that of the cult, after a major invasion of what would become Scotland. This invasion turned into more of a slaughter, with historians estimating that thousands of tribespeople living in the area now known as Scotland were killed. There were talks of peace, but those on the Scottish side made some last-minute changes, resulting in them being labeled rebels. So after the Roman army plowed through and took their revenge, this hand of God was left behind as an offering to the powers that allowed them to win so decisively. Holding onto this tiny hand now might cause the souls of thousands of ancient Scots to look negatively upon you. Don't know if that sounds like a whole lot of fun. Coming in number 4, the Hands Resist Him painting. Now this already sounds very creepy, and one look at the painting confirms that it is. It's unsettling on a whole other level. Goodness me. You might have heard about this one already, as it made some waves when first discovered. In fact, some give it the nickname the Haunted eBay Painting, which is a great title for anything you can purchase. Tell me you wouldn't want to hang that over your mantle and tell everyone who came by about your haunted eBay painting. You'd be the talk of the town in no time, with kids running past your yard at full speed and spooky widows dropping by for tea. Someday. But in the meantime, you can learn of the story behind the Hands Resist Him painting. See, it was dredged up at an old rundown brewery. A couple had been looking through the ruins for whatever people look through old breweries for and came across this horrid image. 2 children, creepy as can be, looking straight at the portrait artist, as some disembodied hands seem to float in the window behind them. Man, plenty of hands without arms on the list today. Must be a sign. Who's gonna send a nice hand into the studio? Look at the little girl's face. Are those doll features? Has her soul been stolen? Answers we may never get. During this painting's time on eBay, folks came up with all sorts of stories to go along with it. Some said that the kids would move around in frame, taking on different poses and positions when folks weren't looking. The hands were known to switch up their positioning too. All in all, a very distressing combination of paint and canvas. It ended up selling for something like $1,000, which is a little low if you ask me. Somehow, the stories caught up to the original painter too, who was quite surprised that everyone had been spinning yarns about his work. Bill Stoneham, the artist, says that the piece was based on an old photograph of himself and a neighbor when they were children, and that he wanted to tap into the Jungian idea of the collectus unconscious. So it might not be haunted, or at least it wasn't when he painted it, but the stories people tell seem to imply otherwise, so we'll see. Coming in at number 3, we've got the tomb of Simon Mctavish. I want to tell this story specifically because I was recently hiking Mount Royal. Maybe I walked by something exceptionally haunted and didn't even notice. Wouldn't be too out of character, that's for sure. However, what was discovered quite a while ago spooks locals to their core. Mount Royal is a lovely elevated plateau that overlooks the city of Montreal and is home to one of the largest intact burial grounds in North America. Plenty of haunted potential here, but there's one ghost in particular that really grabs people's attentions, and it's the ghost of one Simon Mctavish. A fur baron with a short temper, Mctavish wasn't exactly well liked. He was overseeing the construction of his magnificent castle, and he suddenly died and was placed in a lavish tomb. His ghost stuck around though, spooking his neighbors plenty. So they did what any rational group of people would do and collapsed his castle to bury the tomb. Years later though, archaeologists rediscovered this buried tomb, and now folks believe that his ghost is free once more, zipping along the mountainside. Coming in at number 2, we've got the Haunted Child Spirit Doll. Haunted dolls are so in right now, eh? What other cursed item warrants an entire movie series complete with merchandise, books, and a totally redesigned Annabelle? This one isn't nearly as famous as Robert the Doll or the aforementioned Conjuring spin-off though. However, that doesn't make it any less haunted or any less scary. Back when buying all sorts of supposedly haunted items on eBay was all the rage, this doll caught a whole bunch of eyes and garnered plenty of attention. The story goes like this. A family moved into a home built in the 1920s, and they found all sorts of interesting things inside. One particularly fascinating find was an old baby doll. They didn't know how long it had been there or who it belonged to, but boy did it give off some wicked vibes. Soon after discovering this doll, odd happenings started up. Electronic toys would power on with nobody to do so, doors would swing open without anybody around, children in the house would experience vivid nightmares, disembodied footsteps could be heard, and ghosts of old men and women were spotted in the basement. Holy moly. The seller left a little disclaimer saying that she can't take responsibility for whoever buys it, but it did indeed sell. Final asking price? $57.50. Huh. I would have thought a genuine haunted doll would go for a little more. Maybe with a more sensational backstory. We'll see where it goes next. And coming in at number 1, we've got the Black Sarcophagus. See if you can come to a similar conclusion as me here. Back in 2018, a mystery tomb was discovered in Alexandria. Delving deep within, archaeologists pulled out a very cursed-looking black sarcophagus. When announced to the world, all sorts of theories about the dark stone coffin proliferated. Could it be sealing away an ancient enemy of the people? Is some sort of cryptid contained within? What if opening this unleashed a curse upon the world, dooming us forever? The folks in charge of it decided that no risk outweighed potential discovery, so they popped it open. Inside lay the remains of 3 officers and some goopy liquid. Maybe not so bad. But I lean towards that curse more than anything else. Why would the sarcophagus be the color of classical evil if not to contain said evil? What world-ending curse could have popped out? Well, it might have been a spell that awakens some horrible beast, still regaining its strength. Or maybe it brainwashes some powerful people, instilling eldritch knowledge and a hatred of humanity in them. Or could it be that the curse will show up in the form of a plague? 2018, huh? Let that one marinate for a while. Well, that's enough haunted discoveries for one day. Really makes me wonder if thrifting is worth it in the end. I mean, probably, but the risk of haunted items is always there. Better than fast fashion though, right? So, what'd you think of the list? Do you agree with my picks? Have you ever found a haunted item somewhere spooky? One time I saw a really disheveled teddy bear in an abandoned house. That was fun. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more linear ones from the top 5 worst demons in the Bible. Joy Freg says, oh no, Keegan got possessed by the demon of sleepiness. Yeah, but that should come as no surprise, I've been tired for years. Sylvia Page says, out of curiosity, how does one go about getting themselves added to this list? Notepad at the ready, asking for a friend, honest. The same way that one gets to Carnegie Hall, practice. Kathy Neiman says, hi Keegan, the Greasy Strangler was weird, disgusting, and disturbing, but at least I didn't get nightmares. Very glad you watched it. I will continue to spread the greasy gospel till the day I bite the big one. And Prep for It says, we are legion, we are many. Dang, we lost another one. And that is all the time we have for today. I'm going to make a contract with the future devil. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. The thing about what? The metallic piece was picked up in the ancient fortress. In fact, some gave it the nickname, I'm about to sneeze. But in the meantime, ooh.